Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today is not going to be a review. I'm just going to talk about some stuff, okay, some vape related stuff. And today I want to start the topic about stabwood mods or stabilized wood mods. This is a stabilized wood mod, for example. Now, the first time you see a stabilized wood mod, you'll be like, wow, what the heck is that? Your eyes will literally pop out of your eye sockets because you've never seen anything so beautiful. And then you find out the price. $200, 300, 400, 600, even $1,000. And you'll be like, who the fuck would pay that much of money for a mod? But the thing is, stabilized wood mods have been around for a very long time and they're only getting more popular. Many different form factors and stuff like that, regulated or mechanical, etc. But they have been around for a very long time, and getting your hands on a stabilized wood mod has not gotten any easier. It's just very confusing. There's this whole fog, smoke and mirrors out there. And if you want to get a stabwood mod, you probably end up making a mistake with your first mod, which is what I did. I'm going to talk about that right away, and I'm going to show you the mod that I have and why I decided to let go of it and what I've learned about stabilized wood mods. Alright, so first off, when you want to get a stabilized wood mod, the process is not very easy, not easy at all. Only a few modders have websites where they list their mods. Everyone else does them through Facebook. It's either a Facebook page or mostly it's going to be a Facebook group that you have to join and wait for new mods that you can buy. And buying it is not a straightforward process either. You would have to jump through hoops to get your stabilized wood mod, which I will talk in the next video. So I actually wanted to do a whole series of stabilized wood mods, a video on stabilized wood mods, one after another. I guess it's not going to happen that way, so I'm just going to go ahead and do one today and follow up with other videos tomorrow or day after tomorrow or next week, but it will be done. And you have to subscribe to my channel to get notification on new stabilized wood mods videos. So I'm going to show you the mod that I had, my very first stabilized wood mod that I went ahead and got without really knowing what to expect, right? And this mod, I bought it used off of someone, and he shipped it to me from the United States. Now, there's nothing really wrong with this stabilized wood mod, except that I did not know what I was doing, and as a result, I was very unsatisfied with the stabilized wood mod. And eventually, when I had the opportunity to trade it with two different mods, two different pro vape mods, I just went ahead and did that anyway, even though the actual value of the stabilized wood mod was slightly higher than those two pro vape Provari mods combined. So let's talk about the first stabilized wood mod that I had. This was a TS flip mod by a modder in Malaysia. So it's one of the mid-range mods, I would say. Not one of the cheapest stabilized wood mod that you can get. Definitely not one of the most expensive either. And if you look at the picture of it here, it looks really good. I've featured this mod before in a review video, and there were so many questions about what the mod was. Just that at that time, I did not really understand stabilized wood mods that much to explain. But here I am today, I'm going to explain it to you. What's wrong, the problem with stabwood mods, or at least some stabwood mods. So yeah, here's a TS flip mod, and you can see it comes in a box and all that. It's a really good looking mod, but there are a few problems here. Number one problem is the 510 pin itself. You're probably used to a lot of spring-loaded 510 mods where you can just fit in almost any atomizer that you have and it will sit flush, or even if it doesn't sit completely flush, it at least makes a connection. Now, a lot of stabilized wood mods do not have a spring-loaded or self-adjusting 510 pin. What they have is a manual adjusted 510 pin, as you can see here, where you have to put in your screwdriver and adjust the height of the 510 connection. You can lower it, or you can adjust the height to bring the 510 pin up to suit the length of the 510 of your atomizer. Now what this means is that for every single atomizer that you want to put on there, you have to adjust your 510 connection. Otherwise, you either don't make a connection or the gap will be very, very noticeable. Now this is fine. It's perfectly okay if you have only one atomizer, but lots of us don't. So every time you want to put an atomizer on there, you have to get your screwdriver and you have to adjust it a little bit, put on your atomizer, and sometimes it sits flush, but it doesn't make a connection. So you have to raise the 510 pin up a little bit, and then you put it on again. It makes a connection, but now there's a gap. So it's a very, very tedious process. There are pros and cons of a 510 like that. Is that it makes a very solid connection, and it's also good for stabilized wood mods where they like to use a lot of beauty rings, because the beauty rings adds another 1 millimeter or 0.5 millimeter to the bottom. So you would need a 510 that can go higher manually. Now I get it now, but at that time I was like, man, this is such a pain in the ass, because every atomizer had to adjust it. I'm like, okay, fine. Now that was just one of the issues. What is the other issue? The other issue is the board itself. Lots of stabilized wood mods use very well-known boards like a DNA board or Geekay board. Now the older stabilized wood mods, stabwood mods, basically use a DNA 40 chip in there. I knew this was a DNA 40 chip by asking the owner of it, but I didn't know what to expect. I have used DNA 40 chipsets before, but when I got this mod, and then I realized that there is no USB port. And what that means is that I cannot charge it via the USB port like this mod. Okay, I can charge it right here. Now that wasn't that much of an issue either until you figure out how to remove your battery. Most of the stabilized wood mods, the mechanism is the same. You'll have to unscrew the battery door, and then you'll have to put in your battery and tighten the battery door again. Sometimes it's a dual connection, so you have to tighten again and use a screwdriver to actually make the final connection to your battery. Again, lots of hassle, lots of work. Now, I know that you've probably used a DNA 40 mod before that had a USB charging capability, but most stabwood mods out there that use a DNA 40 board do not have a USB port. You can just go out and check for yourself to verify if that's true. Every DNA 40 stabwood mod that I've used do not come with a USB port. So those are the main issues that I had with my first stabilized wood mods. But there are other things as well. For example, how it looks like. It's always different. Always expect the stabilized wood mod that you get to look very different, or at least significantly different from the pictures that are shown by the modder. And here's the reason. Most of them take pictures of the mod with their iPhone or whatever it is, outside, outdoors, in perfect sunlight condition or perfect studio lighting, and that kind of makes the mod look a bit different. And when you actually have it in your hands, the imperfections of the wood look different, right? It's good or bad. It really depends on if you accept it, if you like it, or you don't. One side of the mod can look very different from the other side of the stabilized wood mod. On one side, the front side, you may actually love it, but on the back end, it may have discolorations or different tones or other stuff going on with the wood that you may not actually like. So you really need to have a complete view of the mod, the front, the back, the top, and the bottom as well, to know exactly what you're going to get. But most modders, most stabilized wood mod sellers do not post accurate pictures. So expect that when you get it, it's going to look slightly different. The white colors especially, and the yellows, the reds, almost every color, it may look a little bit different. Expect it also to feel very different from what you really think it's going to be like. My first stabilized wood mod, I expected it to be larger than what it actually was. I also expected it to be heavier than what it was. So when I actually got it, it really feels very insignificant. You know what I mean? Like it just felt too light, like not enough weight to it. Now, there are exceptions, of course. Like this mod, for example, is a mod by axisvapes.com, a US-based company, and they do things very differently. They have a website, and you can just go ahead and see what mods are available, and you can get the one that you want. Everything is priced more or less standard, and best of all, their pictures are really accurate. Whatever you see is exactly what you're going to get, and you have the complete specs that you really need to know how it will feel like in your hands. For example, of course, you need to know what board it runs on, but you also need to know the width, the height, etc. so that you can compare it to some other mod that you have and get a good picture of how big or how thick it's going to be like. Because trust me, when you actually have it, it's going to look much smaller than what you thought it would be. So I guess the question is, well, GK, then why didn't you just go and do your research, do your review? So that brings me to the most important point here. Stabwood mods are almost impossible to research properly, right? You're so used to just going to YouTube and typing in the name of the mod, and you'll find like 10 different reviewers who have different opinions and stuff on the mod that you want to buy. And that helps you to get a very accurate picture. And even if you go to the website where you're going to buy it, all the specs, the width, the height, the board, the maximum temperature, how many batteries it uses, etc., everything is listed there for you. But with Stabwood mods, it's impossible to get information. This company, for example, the Axis Vapes, they do have accurate complete information on their website. But most other Stabwood mods, if you go to their Facebook group, you're going to have a tough time actually getting the full specs, even if you contact the owner or the modder itself. You're probably going to get information about the board and stuff like that, but you need more information. You need to know, for example, the dimensions of it, the height, etc. Is there any warranty? Because some people do give a warranty, some don't, and what packaging does it comes in? No information. In fact, when you join those Stabwood groups, all you find is people posting pictures of their mod and worshipping it, well, literally worshipping it, praising it like, oh, this is the best mod ever. Thank you so much for sending me this mod. It's almost as if they got the mod for free. You know, they don't mention the fact that they paid $600 for it. It's like, oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sending me. This is the most beautiful thing ever. I am in love. And every single post is going to be like that. Now, I think you should know the pros and cons of the mod. But when you go into the Facebook groups, there are no cons. At least no one talks about the cons. It's all about how beautiful it is, how the pros and stuff like that. So it's very hard for you to get good information. Nobody does reviews on Stabwood mods. Some channels out there do some reviews, like a bloody good Damien, if I'm not mistaken, from a bloody good vaping. He does review some high-end mods, stabilized wood mods, but it's just 5% of what's available out there, and or the 95%, it's very hard or almost impossible to find proper reviews of the mods themselves. And I understand why, because every stabilized wood mod is different. The board may be the same, but a big chunk of this is going to be handmade or hand finished, and therefore the QC may be a bit different. So this is an Axis Vapes M17 mod. It looks probably the same as other mods in terms of the size, but the material is different, the color is different, the board is maybe the same, but I have two of the mods and I noticed there's a slight height difference, very slight height difference in the mods, very slight difference in the finishing quality as well, because it's all handmade stuff. So reviewing one is going to be pretty much redundant. Anyway, if I review this mod, you probably ask me where you're going to buy it, and I can link you to Axis Vape's site. You wouldn't be able to find this one because it's unique and this one is gone. And it gets much more complicated for mods that are sold through Facebook groups where you have to join and wait for a raffle or an X1 quick strike or a list, a time limited list, you know, randomizer and stuff like that. It's just, I don't want to review something, have you fall in love with it, and then tell you that you can't get it. Anyway, That brings me to my most important point here. I've decided to do a list on my website where I list out as many stabwood mods as possible as I can probably find, and I list out the RRP recommended retail price so you know exactly what the mod is going to cost, the internals, the board, the board, the battery composition, single or dual in 650 battery, if it's mechanical or regulated, and also the different models or designs that each model or brand has. I try to do as much as possible and list it out on one page so that you can go to that page and see for your budget exactly what you can get. And I also post the link to their Facebook group or website where you can go and join those groups. Now, you might be able to join the groups because some groups are open for a limited time and then they are changed to secret or closed. So you may click on the link and it may say nothing exists. But that being said, I do hope that this will be a useful starting point for you to know what are the different stabwood mods out there. Now, here's the problem. I am having a very difficult time getting the information that I need. I only have a handful of stabwood mods right now. My first one was sort of a mistake because I didn't know what I was getting into, what I wanted. But every other stabwood mod after that, I kind of like it a lot. But still, this is just 1% of what's available out there. So if you can do me a favor, click on the link in the description box below. Go to the page where I list the stabwood mods. This list is very, very basic right now, but I do hope to improve it. But I need your help to give me information about the stabwood mod itself. I need information like the retail price, the composition of it, whether it's DNA, 4D, 75, 200 or Yeehigh, or a die codes chip, or what are the different configurations available, and also the link to the Facebook group where I can go and buy, and some pictures if possible. Pictures I can still pick it up from Facebook and stuff like that, but I cannot possibly join every single stabwood mod group out there and try to fish for information because they all are pretty much the same. There's no information inside and everyone is just, you know, worshipping the mods. As I said before, every day is a new picture of someone putting the mod on their coffee table. It's like, ooh, this is all hail, all hail, all hail. So yeah, you can go to the page below and just leave a comment on the page if you know of a very good stabwood modder, and link to their Facebook page, and also some description about the mod itself and what you think about it, most importantly, because the mods that I have, I can let you know my personal opinion or if there are any issues with it. But the ones that I don't, like I said, I cannot join their Facebook group and ask, are there any issues with this mod? Because it's not really a group, it's a cult, right? So obviously they're going to say, are you stupid? There are no issues with this mod, it's perfect. But I really want to create a list that is impartial, a fair list. So yeah, help me, click on the link below, go to that page and leave me a comment on what mods you think should be there. I'm just focusing on stabwood mods for that list, not generally speaking other types of high-end mods. It has to be a stabwood mod, either full stabwood or a hybrid mod like this one. And in the following videos, coming up videos, I'm going to review, I won't call it a review, I'm just going to show you some of the stabwood options that I have, how much they cost, and whether it was worth the price paying for them. And then I'm also going to give you some tips about stabwood mods themselves, how to take care of them, how to buy them used, and also probably how to sell the mods that you don't want. And the good news with stabwood mods, the best news is that it retains value really, really well. So if you buy a mod for 600 bucks today, 2 months, 3 months, maybe even 6 months down the road, you'll be able to sell it for 600 bucks because it is unique. So if you get the right seller who loves this particular color, he won't be able to find it anywhere else except to get it from you. So as long as you keep the mods in good condition, it holds its value really, really well. In some cases, the value even exceeds the recommended retail price. And I'll explain more about that in different videos. So I hope this video was helpful to you. Please participate in that page. Leave your comment, not on the YouTube video, but on the page itself. Leave a comment with the Stabwood mod, the description, and the Facebook group, and I will eventually make that list the best Stabwood mods list ever. Until then, remember that Stabwood mods are not perfect. They have lots of shortcomings, especially in terms of the board that they use. Technology that they use is usually older technology and other stuff that you should know. That's it from me today, GK from GK Vapes. I hope you enjoyed this video. Wokie dokie, no more smoky.
Wow.